Hello, fellow WHOvians. Today, set sail for the high seas as we review The Legend of the Sea Devils.
Aye, Captain!
This is The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Thanks, baby. Yes, baby. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. Hello, fellow WHOvians. Welcome to another edition of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. For those of you who have celebrated with us, happy Easter. And for those of you who were there Sunday night, thank you for joining us on our watch-along party as we did the viewing and the previewing of the episode that we are going to be reviewing today, Doctor Who, The Legends of the Sea Devils. And the return of the Sea Devils, I think in almost 20 years, the last time we saw them was with the Fifth Doctor in Warriors of the Deep, starring Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. Excuse me, little water.
Warriors of the Deep did not star Jodie Whittaker. What are you talking about?
Warriors of the Deep, no, Legends of the Sea Devil. Yes, the devil. My
I'm staying out of this.
No, you're not. You're in it already there.
I know.
Anyway, let's go ahead and talk to the team who are going to be reviewing today. And thank you so much for joining us again here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Let me go ahead and let's begin with, let's say hello to my partner in crime who was there yesterday. Not yesterday, it was Sunday. Mr. Dave Chapman. As soon as I pull up the moniker. There we go. How you doing there, Dave? I got you at the right time too.
I think. Oh yeah, exactly. I'm pulling a Melanie.
You're pulling a Melanie. Oh, what does that mean?
I suppose I'm not eating.
Yeah,
I'm just drinking, not eating. So I suppose it doesn't count.
Well, in that case.
Totally different.
There we go.
Don't forget, we're going to be doing the chats tonight. And remember, we're doing our rankings from 1 to 10 TARDISes, 1 being not so good, to 10 being the best thing ever of TARDISes, on how we're going to be ranking this episode. You can go ahead and start putting in your rankings right now. Dave, do you have access? Dave or Melanie, do you have access to the chat yet? Okay.
Nope,
not yet. Okay, so I'm going to be running.
I know why, at least, Melanie. So we can have that conversation later. I know what happened. I kind of half told Christian.
And
we should be good in
there. Dan would say hello. Still haven't seen the episode yet, but I couldn't miss your. Oh, damn! Well, you know what? Some people actually
spoilers.
So I'm just Oh, you know what? Here we go. Hang on 1 second. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
Let's see how long it's going to take him to click on the spoilers one.
Shut it.
What?
Spoilers.
Oh. Fantastic.
And we're going to be spoiling the episode. So Dan, if you're cool with it, and anybody else who's going to be watching, we're going to be talking about everything that has gone on this past Sunday night. So happy Easter for those of you who celebrated. Speaking of celebration, the lovely Mackenzie Floor. How you doing, Mackenzie? Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, we are going to be reviewing the Legends of the Sea Devil. I'm sorry, I'm changing shirts.
And by celebrations, he was trying to say, it was my birthday. I share my birthday with Peter Capaldi, so I share my birthday with a doctor. So
Yay!
Yay!
That's right. Happy birthday there. And speaking of which, here's the hashtag guru himself, Tom. How you doing there? Welcome there, Tom. And says, Dan, Daily Motion has been good to me for a while. Ads yet, but not BBC America. Commercial. Yeah. Tell me about it. Commercials out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of commercials, the lovely Melanie Dean is here with us today. How you doing, Melanie?
Speaking of commercials.
That's
Speaking of segues.
right.
But yeah, I'm here.
How was your Easter?
It was good. I was working.
You were doing some work. Yeah, you were doing some work.
Yeah, I was working this whole weekend. I've been working like crazy. So after this week, I'll be done with work, and then go back to my art for MegaCon prep. So yeah, Easter other than that was good.
MegaCon.
Yes.
MegaCon.
Yes, I have no cashews. I have no idea what that means out there, but everybody's saying hello to each other.
Is that a song like I Have No Bananas?
I have no idea.
I have no bananas because they have no bones. Speaking of, well,
No
never mind.
bones.
Where were you going to go with that one?
Shut it.
I
Speaking, here is the lovely Kevo Reese. How you doing there, Kevo?
I'll take no bones. That's fine.
No bones? Okay. No bones about this guy. This is the lovely Kevo Reese from Husbands Talking More or Less on his podcast, and his lovely husband, Nico. How you doing, Kevo?
Well, I feel like I have no bones. I've been sick all weekend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, it is what it is. I think it's this weather where it went from like 70 down to 30, and now it's climbing back up again. I can't handle that. I'm getting too old for this.
Yes, it's Florida's being called the bipolar weather state right now. It's like 50, 70, 80, rain, no rain, hail, wrath of God. Not so much of a wrath of God, but it was just like really just like you know that joke that's like 3:05 in the afternoon. It's like this beautiful tropical sunset. 3:10 in the afternoon, you see this like monsoon and everything. 3:15, it's all gone. So yeah, exactly. We're back. Yeah, that is typical Florida weather out there. Yeah.
it's blizzarding right now, and we're looking at like potentially 7 inches overnight or so.
Are you kidding me?
No.
No.
I know.
And it's supposed to be 80 by the end of the week, so we're really having that bipolar.
Yeah.
We're
getting nearly as bad as
last couple of days either.
Yeah, we're not getting it as bad as like Willow over in Winnipeg. For those who watch her show over and Hanging With, but it's going to be ugly.
April 1st.
The only it was a couple of weekends ago we had a nice little cold front in Florida, and now came nice little storm system came through, and it was like 60s and then 70s, and for the weekend, and then Monday rolled around, it was 89, 93.
I know, it just
right back to it.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky because I think a storm came in on Sunday night and just like barely missed what we were, during the recording. So I was like, good, thank you. Just do it some other time. Not right now, not during a recording. Do it some other time. And don't forget your chats. I'm handling the chats today. As soon as we get...
So blame that one.
What do you mean blame that one?
Blame that one, because he's got control over everything. So this entire ship is going to be run by one person.
It's going to be.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which will be very similar to how many crew members were running those big ships during this episode.
Oh my!
Exactly.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
No, I don't know what just happened with Dave.
It's
Went
much better
straight
now.
back to 1990.
That's weird.
1983. Yes. Sir, you need to take the dial and move it 3 over. Looks like you're on you. You need to be on channel 2.
It's weird.
That's how old I am.
I'll just pretend I'm doing something else here. Nope, that's okay. So that's clearly where it is because it's.
Yeah.
Right now it's supposed to be showing something different again.
Move the antenna to the left. Put it closer to your window.
Uh-huh.
Get a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, tinfoil.
Trust me. Oh, there we go.
He's
gone. There we go. Well, he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back out there. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. We are going to be reviewing today the episode. Oh, there he is. Oh, that's much better, Dave. I like that.
That's because I'm now using my webcam, not the cool funky camera.
Oh, okay. Audio's
your mic's different now.
Yeah, the audio's a little wonky, but we'll work with it.
No, I can fix that. That should be fixable.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And again, we will be reviewing
Now we have nothing.
Legend of the Sea Devils, starring Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. Second to the last episode of Jodie's. It's also starring Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan and the other guy named Dan. I can't think of his name. John Bishop is Dan.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey. That doesn't make their quality of the show any.
And according to I was going to say, and Dan Holyfield apparently, Eric,
nom. So without further ado, well, let's go ahead and get started. Before we go to our first commercial break, let me go ahead and remove the banner. And without any particular order, we're just going to do numbers. And of course, the person with the lowest number is going to go first throughout the episode. We're going to start with Mackenzie. How did you rate? Just give me the number. Don't say anything as of yet.
I give it a 6.
You gave it a 6. Got it. I'm writing that down right now because I'm doing everything at this moment. Everything. Kevo, how would you rate? Knock that off. Kevo, how would you rate this episode?
Overall average of 8.5.
8.5, a little higher there. Melanie, how would you rate this episode?
y'all are gonna hate me.
Oh my God!
I was gonna say 3, but now I'm gonna say 4. But now I'm like, no, I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm not gonna let other people's opinions.
Well, which one?
3.
3. Okay,
Oh, yeah,
we're gonna
do
stick
you.
to the guns. I'm just saying to you
guys.
right now, you're probably
I just
in the lead
finished
for
it.
going
That's why I was
first.
late.
Oh, okay. And the very shaky Dave Chapman from the rathole.ca. Dave, how would you rate this episode?
I'll give it a 7, and it is a generous 7, but a 7.
It was a generous 7, and I'm
Christian,
actually.
take Dan's comment off the screen.
I'll leave it up there. Hey, I'm doing
He wants to know
everything.
he
I'm
needs to
doing
reload a page?
everything. Hey. Some people aren't following me on Instagram. Well, go ahead and follow Tom on Instagram. Oh, because you're restricted. How dare you not follow Tom on Instagram? You know, we're just going to start a show one day and just have everybody just do their own chats and let them talk to each other. That's how the show's going to run.
That's kind of how it's gone. Yes.
Yes. And everybody, I'm gonna try to get to the chats out there. Of course, I'm keeping my number up until the end of the show, so we've got it. So Mackenzie's got 6. Melanie's gonna start us off at 3. Dave with 7, and Kevo at 8.5. And I've got my number. But before we go to commercial break, Melanie, if you want to go ahead and give us your take as to why you rated a 3. Ouch. That really is
commercial break.
Before commercial break, yeah.
Okay, so I just finished the episode and I was no me gusta. I was not impressed by this. I felt that they must have written an episode that was an hour and a half long and then went, okay, we can only film 47 minutes of this, given that other specials usually get an hour or so. This was the shortest special in Doctor Who, at least with Jodie, but I think it's the shortest special in New Who. But it just the editing was just at one point I felt like it was like somebody had. This would have been a good comic. This would have been a really solid Titan comic, but I felt that this they wrote something huge, then went, okay, well, let's not film all the connecting pieces.
Hey, Garrett.
We're just gonna connect it by weird editing, with just going chunk. It was just all over the place where I was not happy. It just hit every little bone or part that I did not like about this episode. And I can keep going if you like. But yeah, guys, I didn't.
Do you want to hold it for the commercial break to keep going?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll do that. We
can talk a little more.
No problem there.
I'm going to bring up
Absolutely not.
Every single point that I was going to hit so far. So
I know so far. Yeah, I was just like, okay, it's just going to be Melanie talking because I think we're all going to be in agreement with Melanie. What
no, because y'all scored it higher. I'm the 3.
I wouldn't say that. I didn't get my score.
I graded a curve.
Everyone knows, Melanie, that I usually
would have been a 4.
Above, so I mean, 6 for me is like a 3.
And I mean, the costuming, fantastic. The first thing that killed me on this one was the very beginning when she's hitting the stone. Again, remember people spoilers.
We didn't get this.
Yeah,
like that.
We did not get that, and that brilliant. And
yeah,
I thought that the use of the eyes that they kind of chiron the eyes in.
Yeah,
it worked perfectly because it's just black on white. It didn't feel like they needed to go overboard with their CG, with their team. But there was parts in there where I'm like, you could see where the budget really, where they spent the time for the designers to really start working on stuff. But the first part out of the gate was when she's cracking the statue, and they move, and they're panning around it, and the first crack didn't move, and I'm like, oh, that was horribly Chironed on there, and even I'm just that part went ooh. So I mean, there was parts where you could see where the budget went, and they spent time and detail on effects. There was parts where I'm going, why are the stars moving? Why are they hold certain shots? There was parts where when they're in the cavern, I found the little dust motes that they kept CGing in there extremely distracting, because at first I kept thinking, are they underwater? Like, no, they're not underwater. So I mean, it was just all these little things where it just, this episode, I'm usually really good, guys, on going, it's Doctor Who.
It's really
just the show. Forget it. I'm gonna have. It just kept.
You really must not let, because Melanie is usually in the upper tier of the numbers. For Melanie to go down to 3,
my 6 is like her 3. I mean, it really is.
I mean, it felt like it wasn't poor editing. It felt like they were rushed. It felt like they had a weird shot list and figured, we'll tie it together in post. It'll be fine. And
Sophie's saying, eat some chocolate, Melanie.
I've got plenty of chocolate.
You're not you when you're hungry.
You're not you. Yeah, we need to get you a Snickers bar. Mark, send her a Snickers bar from the UK when you get a chance. I haven't yet, Joseph, and check out the No Name trivia show. Joseph, if you want to put on the link, I'll make sure that people see it out there. Mark is already giving it a 7 out of 10, and for the 100th episode trailer coming out soon, 10 for 10. Okay, well, we will discuss the trailer as we get further on. Do not, no matter what Christian says, go to piecesofmelanie.com.
Oh, good God.
Well, we wanted to welcome everybody coming into the show. We're going to be reviewing it, and Melanie's already started, so we got to go to a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue our discussion.
She did that on purpose so that you couldn't go back to her and use something else that I'm going to say.
When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and we will be discussing about Legend of the Sea Devils. Yeah, stand by. Here we go.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join WHOvian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
Hi, my name is Jamie Engel, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go, a short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered. With stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at therightangle.com. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
I truly doubt that Jamie is actually washing her hands before she sends you a book. Welcome back to the
Christian. No.
You know how authors sign their books? No, not Jamie. Welcome back. We're going to be reviewing Legends of the Sea Devil, the one that premiered this past Easter, and it is the second to last episode of Jodie Whittaker's The 13th Doctor. And we will be showing and talking about that video that came out with some past companions. Yeah, this is going to be spoiler. And just to let you know, our hashtag guru says, I will call you the boneless. And Sophie says, hi,
do that when I'm drinking.
Hi, Sophie.
Thanks for the great show. No problem there, Chris and Kevo in the house. Everybody giving you a shout out, Kevo.
Yeah.
You are
as they should.
What is going on with Melanie? Hey there, Julie. Welcome there. Yet it is. Just speaking in quick to say happy TARDIS Tuesday, all. Thank you. So everybody's giving a shout out. Kevo, love your t-shirt. Let's do it. Let's do it right there.
So that's I think it's Bird of Prey. This isn't an X-Wing, but I think it's that other type of ship from Star Wars, right? Falcon, Serenity.
You know what?
Hornet.
I could be wrong. Is that Battlestar Galactica Classic?
Ooh,
it might be.
Viper,
it might be.
You're right. There you go. It should be if it's not, so I'm going to pretend that it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've already got a Millennium Falcon, so it's got to be.
So they can get some representation in there. I like that.
It's my low-key gay geek pride shirt.
There you go. Melanie will be back because I have no idea where she went. So Melanie was the lowest number out there, and Mackenzie, you rated it a 6. What happened? Where did it go wrong? And what can they do to fix it?
Everything that Melanie said, first off, everything she said, is the editing for me was an absolute disaster. I don't know if it was the script editing or whether it was the editing when they actually put it together as a full. There were so many times where I'm like, what happened there? There should have been a scene there, like in the very beginning when the Doctor and Yaz and Dan all conveniently get this devil in the thing. I'm like, okay, where was the plan? Where was that discussed? Right there. That was the first thing. I was like, okay, did I miss something there? And it kind of went down from there. One of the things that, as a person of the LGBT community, I actually did like what they did with handling Thasmin. However, I didn't like how the media was like, we're going to handle this really carefully. It's obvious that the Doctor has feeling for Yaz, but she/he cannot have that relationship because she's afraid of losing someone. And that's happened so many times. How many times has the Doctor lost somebody? So the fact that she doesn't want to carry that pain anymore, I can absolutely understand. But at the same time, I was so hurting for Yaz because how many times has somebody done that in a relationship where, like, I just want to be friends, can we just keep this as be friends, and I'm just...
And it hurts, yeah.
It does. It hurts really, really, really bad. So, yeah, for all of those reasons, that is why I gave it a 6, which my 6 would be the equivalent of a 3 for Melanie, because usually I'm usually a 9 or a 10, or sometimes even an 8. But that 6, the editing for me was just an absolute disaster.
There you go. Yeah, it was too short. Joseph, wow, you gave a 3, not a 4. Even more hate you. What?
Clearly, someone like the
apparently. Check out Noel over at the TARDIS Zone, our sister Doctor Who location on YouTube. Legend of the Sea Devils was awful. Thasmin thing handled badly from start to finish overnight. 2.2, which means 2 million watch. This was her second last episode. Overnights are kind of dropping out there.
In defense of the overnight,
go ahead, sir.
In defense, how many people did you and I see as we were trying to get people to come on for the live show saying, hey, I'm recording it. Hey, I'm recording it. Hey, I'm recording it. It's Easter freaking Sunday.
The middle of the day.
And they don't count it if you do a recording. They will only count it if you do watching live, which I don't ever watch anything actually through the channel. I go through an IPTV channel I never. So everybody over in America, none of us stuff gets counted. But also, if you hit the DVD or DVR, you're not going to be counted either. So that is. I've heard a lot of that. It's like, oh, this episode only got blah, 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 blah. But the problem is that technology and the way that people watch has changed completely. So if you're going to use that argument, you have to look at put in consideration of all the people who actually did the DVR and all that.
Yeah, I want to see the 7-day adjusted numbers is what I want to see.
Yeah,
the overnight's useless.
Is that you?
Huh?
I haven't changed any.
No, you haven't. But I might have gotten my admin because Eric's watching. It's awesome from the Hanging With web show.
Melanie has the chats back. There's a ton of chats. So
keep on hating me.
Yeah, I was
back. She's got
offered, and I'm just like, nah, we'll just let Christian suffer. Melanie's way nicer than I am.
I got to admit,
Melanie suffer.
You see, there seems to be kind of like a catch-22 because like people watch. The Christmas episodes, Easter, everybody's home. It's not, I did hear a lot of, I'm going to record it later. And then I also heard some, I'm not watching it at all. I'm just like, it was mixed nuts. Usually the overnights are a nice, stable, I wouldn't say like for better term, but it kind of gives the idea of how people are viewing it. And unfortunately, if we're going just by the overnights, the impression is still going down. In fact, I think it's lower than anything Capaldi had. Capaldi had, I think it was the Eater of Light, which was like 2.4, and she got 2.2. I'm not, and that's the hardest thing about, the overnights is just kind of like, well, where does it pick up later? Do people watch it later, and are they watching that? And that's the hardest thing about BBC iPlayer, because I heard that during around Christmas time, people were watching Doctor Who. And then I found out later that they were watching Doctor Who, but not necessarily the New Year's Eve special. They were catching up on stuff like I was when BBC America was playing back all of the Doctor Who's. I was recording all the... Oh, hi.
Speaking of overnight, we were talking about ratings and overnight.
I even got the hat.
I was like, bam, here is Dr. Freedom, the man that knows this part.
Yo ho.
Wow, hi.
First off, the guy who messaged from TARDIS Zone Official, whatever, that's Noel. Noel has been predicting that Jodie Whittaker is going to leave the show since 2017.
Hey, easy.
Well, no, that's a fact. That's true. It's not slander. It's not libel. Go look it up for yourself.
And we're not going to fight.
I'm not lying.
I'm not saying you are.
I'm just saying the truth. That's who that is. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying this is the same rhetoric he's been pushing for years. But no, about 2.2 million on the overnights. Okay, well, let me see. We had to keep Eaters of Light, which came in at 2.89 million back in the Capaldi era. But also remember, they did the exact same mistake they did back then. They put Capaldi's episode Eaters of Light up against the World Cup tournament. That's like, who was the brilliant producer who came up with this idea? I don't know. But then also they decide the Air Doctor. Now I know they were going for the simulcast, but then they put it up against Britain's Got Talent. And when you put anything up against a reality show like Britain's Got Talent, you're toast. You're done. There's no way you're going to stand up to it. Plus, like Ez said, in reference to other things, the highest rated show of the night. And I love this because somebody was online the other day going, I remember when Doctor Who got 7 or 8 million. I go, the highest rated show of the night was Britain's Got Talent with like 5.1 million viewers. It just shows that the whole scope is changing. Pretty much I don't know. Sometime before the time I finally leave this planet, I have an eerie prediction that you're never going to see anything anymore as like terrestrial television. It's going to be all on your computer. It's going to be all that.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's going now. We're just on the evolutionary path towards that. So the thing to look out for is, wait for the +7 consolidated before you go crazy. Be sure to go check the streaming figures because that's what they're looking at. You see, there he goes again, going on about 10 million viewers. All right, let me tell you about 10 million viewers. He's talking about once upon a time, way back in the day, we had a special called Voyage of the Damned.
Brian, are you taking over the show?
Yes, he is, and I'm just going to keep clicking on TARDIS stuff because this is entertaining.
Good.
This is awesome.
Because I'm going to put this in reference because this is relevant to what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they're both talking and making good points. Hell
yeah. But here's my point.
Very simple.
Because I'm about to.
Can I get to the point?
Yes,
please do.
Here's the point I was getting at. Now, for the folks who are saying, well, the numbers are too low, there was no streaming back then. There was no BBC, what you call it, streaming services, no BritBox. There was nothing. So when you're comparing these figures to past figures, you got to be very careful. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's not equitable.
It's not the same type of monster anymore that it once was.
It's been almost 20 years since the revival started. Like it's been 18, 17 this year. Like everything about television is so different in terms of how many people are watching everything all at once, how many people are watching different services. Like it's not comparable to the way it was when it started. It's not.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
plus they had Kylie Minogue.
That's true.
Yeah, Kylie Minogue.
The locomotion.
Is it just me, or does she get better looking every year? I think she's a vampire.
She's getting younger every year. I don't know what the heck.
I'm not kidding. She's so nice.
If you're on my show, you better give me a number so I can shove you in here. What's your number there, brother? How'd you rate the show?
All right, so how do I rate the show? I'd give it like maybe a 6.5 or 7 out of it. I can't rate it too high. It seemed to me like they took. I heard at first this thing was supposed to be like an hour long. And it seems to me like what they did was they tried to edit pieces out, and you can tell obviously pieces are missing when you watch it. Like, one of the things I kept hearing was this is slow and boring. I'm like, are you kidding? I started watching this. This thing took off like the Roadrunner, and it just didn't stop till finally we got to the ass part, and bam! It was like it hit the cement wall like Wile E. Coyote.
I agree. I felt like I was getting whiplash because it's just one scene and we're going to another. I'm like, wait, how do we connect to this? And I don't need a lot, but something.
So I can't give it higher than maybe a 6.5. I'd have to say it was just it seemed like it was a very badly edited mess.
Yeah, it could have been something a lot better. I would say that
I know I'm trying to go back.
Better show up as a BBC novel, one of those Doctor Who Target novels. That better it belongs in that universe, just like Orphan 55, which I need to even compare these two to.
I mean, sea monsters, pirates, Thasmin, beautiful scenery. It ticks too many positives on my list for me to rate it lowly. 8-10. And I would say, Dave, you were showing some images from the Sea Devils and Warriors of the Deep. I just remember in the Sea Devils, I don't know if you have that video, the Sea Devil walking out of the ocean, and you could tell whoever was in that outfit was tripping over and just like was about to be knocked over by a wave. Yet when they're standing on the land with the Sea Devil, he jumps all over across to the boat. I'm like, what the hell?
And the funny part is they made him wear those fishnets because somebody complained that they looked too naked.
I want this.
Why
did we not have a melting Sea Devil?
No, we did not.
I'm sad. No melting Sea Devil. Oh, it's still melting.
We need melting Sea Devil.
I was looking for the horse thing.
Oh, the Merca.
Merca, that's what it is.
Wasn't
for whatever reason,
the Merca? I thought that was the Merca.
No, was that supposed to be the Merca?
And that was another point. I didn't know where was the character name.
I thought that was the Merca.
Yeah, and that fish. If we were talking about the same thing, I'm like, where did it go?
You think like I thought that was like hi, bye. I'm just like, okay, well, what was that all about?
Go? How is this connected to the story? That part felt
it grabbed the TARDIS, it took it down into the cavern, cave, whatever, and then it just was it gone? And then I'm like, okay, so
they forgot about it. The writers forgot about it. It's like, oh well.
They spent money on those graphics too. Some of them were great. Some of them were.
Well, I'm going to say that, you know what, since we're already kind of just cluster, I meant, you mentioned, Melanie, it felt like it was a comic book. I felt like the CGI made it feel like a comic book.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like they had a comic and that they shot panels. Like they were legit just shooting it as like I was watching an animated comic. I felt more like that. then because at least
Yeah,
it was go
kind of
meanwhile
like,
and
I remember Georgia Moffat and David Tennant did an animated episode, and I know they also did
Dreamland.
Dreamland, and I'm like, we're kind of in this. It was just, yeah, I think they're just there. Thank you. There, look at that. It's just like, remember, I don't know if you have the scene where he's jumping from the land right into the boat, but look at that. They're just like, God, these suits are heavy. And that's how you die.
That's awesome.
At least they move quicker than they did in Warriors of the Deep. My goodness. I was like,
yes. Oh my God, yes.
If that's your elite Sea Devil Warriors, I can walk faster than that when my arthritis is flaring up, okay?
It is kind of interesting that they put this in ancient China, and the armor that the Sea Devils had in Warriors of the Deep was very much Japanese samurai style armor. So that was kind of an interesting. Whether it was a choice or not, I'm not sure. But assuming it was a choice, because very few things are not, that was an interesting choice to make.
Carl,
I thought
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to bring up Carl's. Let me drink. I haven't watched yet, and now I'm not so sure if I want to. It will be more out of duty. Carl, I
mean, honestly, I'm gonna watch it again.
Don't listen to our opinions. Don't listen to
we're just giving our take. Unfortunately, they're not great takes, but there were some things I liked about it. But I think if Melanie doesn't get to it and Mackenzie already got to it, I'm probably going to add more. I'm going to even jump out and say this should have been 2 episodes.
Yes.
It was so
crammed
together. It felt
and
like
we've said that a lot during this era. We've said that a lot too.
Yeah, but this one, it felt like and tell me if I'm wrong. It feels like somebody went in there. I get to feel like this was like a 2.5-hour episode, and somebody went in there and started hacking it and going like,
yeah, that would be script editing.
It just felt like there was no cohesiveness in the writing, and like.
You're right. It feels like something got gutted. Like the fact that and character names don't stick with me anyway, but then when you don't say them enough during the show, then I'm really kind of screwed. Right. But the gentleman back in time that was frozen, and that reveal that he's been there the entire time, that seemed like it would have been a great reveal and then a cliffhanger.
It just felt like it felt like a MacGuffin.
Or showing us how did he get out? Like he magically just suddenly got out.
It felt like a MacGuffin rather than a device that could have supported what was going on. It just felt like, oh well, move that ball. It's a mulligan.
And even when they decided to say the little yellow, the little orange, the orange stone, and that he had that the guy dressed in the white and the ornate had that epiphany of, oh, you must be the descendant of my great lieutenant. I thought that was brilliant. And that was a great reveal because it was filmed really well and all that kind of stuff. And like that seemed like it could have been more poignant. But again, we were just.
You see, I thought that monster was the one that popped up and like swallowed.
Oh no, Godzilla died. What happened?
Yeah.
Oh no,
it's
just
better off
that's
Secretary from the Craig Ferguson show.
And that right there, seeing the Sea Devil, that's another issue that I had with it, is how the doctor was like, you didn't have to kill it. And then what's his face answers to say, well, he did this and they did that and they took this from me. And the doctor just stares. I'm like,
well, when she said that, I kind of was like, you just killed about 15 of the other ones.
Exactly.
And they all conveniently, I mean, I've done stage fighting, so I know how to use the sword and stuff, but that's not something that the average person can just pick up and go swing, swing, swing and be accurate.
Noah goes.
Hey, you haven't met his mother.
The Sea Devil's design was very good. Didn't like the leap or the. Yeah, I can
agree with him on that. I did love the design. It was more classic than it was before.
Yes.
This is where we can take, and this is where I hit Chibnall hard when he wouldn't pull back classic monsters. Like this is where we can find something, a treasure trove from the classic series, move it up, possibly CGI them, see what we could do with them. And I did like the Sea Devils in their current form. They were really, really good as far as monsters are concerned. So I give kudos to the people who put those Sea Devils together. And we kind of got an upgrade from Lenky going into the ocean to.
I thought the Chironing the eyes was great. Moving them so that they blinked a little bit and that they moved more.
Yeah.
And that the fact that the one that really did all the talking, his mouth moved just a tiny bit. But the Orange Stone did most of it. So then in my mind, I'm like, okay, that works. I thought the design and execution of them was just phenomenal. And that they didn't go too crazy departure.
But regarding the two-parter bit, I think this could have done something along the lines of like, if I'm getting the titles right, Under the Lake and Before the Flood. Remember that with your Capaldi? If they'd done something like that, where you have one group in this part at a time, and then this going back to Lee, I believe his name was Lee Huan. I want to say that. Okay. I'm not sure. And going back to his time, having that adventure set up for the other one, or having them go back like they did before, where they're in the past, and that sets up for that one. That would have been brilliant in this case.
Yes, I feel like what happened in this case is that they were told like, oh, here, you got to make this episode, and then they had.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
That was
like only a couple days.
Jedi leap.
Which,
when they start using the Force, for crying out loud.
Don't understand the screenwriting world. That's actually normal for you to write an episode. Be in the writing room, have it all blocked, and then write it in like 2 days. So that's completely normal for that to happen. But it just. Yeah, there's just too many things.
All right, enjoy the episode. Just check it out, and then you can come back and put in the chats what you thought out there. So yeah, like I said, it's our opinions. Yeah, I meant Melanie gave it a 3. I gave it another number.
Again, if I keep focusing on the good stuff, I will gladly move it to a 4 or 5. I mean, I have to watch it again because I was just so
seeing if my opinion would change at all. And every time I watched it, I just kept seeing more stuff that bothered me, like the CGI, which I thought first time was absolute brilliant how it's done. When the Sea Devil is on the ship and initially talking to all the other Sea Devils, you'll notice they all move the same way with their heads at the same time. So it's one person, all just multiplied. I'm like,
I kind of saw that as them being more focused, more. They kind of resemble where they are at in China, so they're more disciplined, more focused. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in the positive, too much of a positive light. But that's what I saw. The Sea Devils, they're a bit more of an honorable race, if you really think about that. But that's
and they're supposed to be, yes.
Yeah. Speaking of honorable, let me get to the commercials. We return. That makes sense. Oh, I'm sure we're going to go way into the after party about the standby.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world. You play this up for me, yeah.
I'll breeze through this quickly because we're low on time out there. Traveling TARDIS pictures of the day. Some of them don't have the TARDIS, but we're going to include the birthday. So happy birthday to Maisie Williams. Happy birthday to me. She turned 25 on April 15th. 20. I thought she was much older. Speaking of much older, we're going to be talking about this in the after party. If we get, hopefully we get to it. Brian Miller, the husband of the late Liz Sladen and father of Sadie Miller, who does her mother. He is turned 81 as of the 17th. And we had 3 birthdays to run across. The lovely Camille Kodori, 57, and she's actually got the Traveling TARDIS in her possession. David Tennant, 51. as of April 18th. All 3 birthdays are on April 15th. And of course, if we're going to have a doctor's birthday, we're going to have a master's birthday. Eric Roberts, he hits 66. And unfortunately for today, there is a special remembrance going on this particular day. We lost Elizabeth Sladen today, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 12 years ago. But we'll be talking more about her, and we've got a little special tribute for her in the after party. That's if we have time to go into the after party what we got down there. So let's get back to things. Dave, you rated it. Sorry, I have paperwork. Dave, you rated it a 7.
Dave,
turn on your microphone.
Off mute, sir.
Turn on your microphone.
Nope, it's through the app.
Push the button, Dave.
There we go.
There you go.
Push the button.
All right. I muted myself. For some reason, my computer decided to open up music and start playing music. I'm like, stop it. But yes, so episode. Like everyone else said, this was definitely a longer episode that got cut down. Like we already know that the next one is supposed to be feature length.
Yeah.
Whatever that ends up meaning. But let's assume 2 hours. Why wasn't this? They're specials. They're not, they're not meant to be part of the season, quote unquote. So why not make them longer? Because you can, and this one definitely should have. One thing I did notice, and kind of as the conversation, I realized this. So you've got this one, you've got Orphan 50, whatever. Benny, kill Benny, kill Benny, kill Benny. I hate that woman.
Kill the episode. Just kill it.
And then there's the Tesla one with the spider things. There was a lot of, even the new monsters seemed very retro and very old school. And I think that was something that Chibnall was going for. Definitely. I mean, beyond just bringing back some stuff, I think he was aiming for a feel and failing miserably at it, unfortunately. Like, bringing back the Sea Devils is great. They should be back. I love them. They're great. I love this version of them. I love that they're no longer speaking like snakes so much.
Yeah.
They had a really weird...
they were Cerulean cousins, weren't they? And they kind of
figured
one's on land, one's in water.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're still Silurian, but they had this snake, like they had a very different speech in the older ones, and I'm glad they got rid of that. It's still there, like they got the tone right and everything, which is great, but they just got rid of the weird hissing that they were doing.
Yeah, that's
I would have killed
Ocean
myself
sound
in
like that
5 minutes. I'm just like, stop this hissing. Stop. I can't listen to this anymore. Which is the only downfall of that.
Yeah, but I mean, it had so much potential, and which is a thing that we have all said this for the last 3 seasons. So much potential, and failed miserably. And I really want to know why.
It takes talent to make a story with pirates and sea devils. Dull. Great job. Oh, God.
Where's the lie?
I mean, I was excited about the Pirate Queen being a character in this because she had the largest fleet known to mankind. I mean, she monetized it. She made it a business. She made basically a pirate guild. She was amazing and fierce. And where's her crew? She can wait that. Anyway, being quiet.
It wasn't important.
Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back. She had to go rescue them. They all got kidnapped or whatever the hell happened.
Speaking like
this is pre-Queen era, so let's go back with the next Doctor and do this properly.
Yes, because I mean, go if you can go find. There is an audiobook called Pirates. I will find the link, put it in a comment. But if you like the show, Our Flag Means Death, there's a segment on Stede Bonnet, and there's also a big segment on the Pirate Queen and how her name's actually kind of changed through history because they're not sure what it is. Nice. Absolutely entertaining, absolutely fascinating. I'll put it in a comment now so you can find it.
We're going to take a small commercial break. When we return, Kevo, please save us. You rated it 8.5, so there's got to be. I'm going to admit there are some redeeming factors about this, but We're going to get your take. When we return, we're just going to quickly run through the commercials. We'll be right back.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and Kevo is up.
Yes, okay.
Please
well,
tell us what we got wrong. Tell us what you saw right.
Not even wrong. To start, my frame of mind going into this, my husband and I just re-binged this show called Episodes, which is like 10 years old now. And it's this thing about these British writers coming over to America to make a TV show. And one of the major themes is how different television production is over there from over here. So one of the things that was playing in my mind, very fresh watching this episode, was y'all have no money. Y'all don't spend any money on anything. Like all of everything Doctor Who does is done on such a shoestring budget compared to so much other television now. Still, like we know this, that BBC is not giving them the funding that they properly need. So it starts at the top, and my first thought the entire time was, this looks better than an Asylum movie, and for the amount of money they have, that's actually pretty good. But secondarily, because of the way it's so frequently treated by the BBC like a glorified Nickelodeon show, I sort of tried to, instead of watching it like a 36-year-old, I was like, how much would I have liked this if I was 10? So that's hugely where my 8.5 comes from.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking about
I got what you're thinking there.
Huge plot holes. Like there's little things here and there. I didn't feel like there was enough that the machine couldn't realistically hold together. That is this story. But if I analyze it further, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to find a lot of problems. You've all brought up exactly huge points of it. Feels like giant things were cut. It was 48 minutes long. That's literally shorter than most of the regular episodes in the Chibnall era. That's truly crazy. So, like, something was going on there. I think the BBC just stopped caring, and I think they're just riding this out until Russell T. Davies takes over. The show's going to get a cash infusion, so it's going to look better. They're going to be able to afford,
They got Sony money. They got Sony.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a huge part of it. The overall story was fine. I love Dan. He's so cute. He's not really getting enough characterization, but like his biggest characterization is that he's a giant romantic. And I find that really sweet on a man in his mid 40s. Where is his character from?
Oh,
one of those.
Melanie knows the answer, but her mouth is full.
Shut up.
But areas where generally men of that appearance and style you wouldn't think would be so progressive and romantic, and I really think that that's really amazing for him. I love the Thasmin stuff. I'm not a shipper of it. I don't particularly. There's lots of ships that I don't get, that people have plenty of evidence for, that they see it here and here. And I'm like, I see what you're saying, but I don't feel it myself as much as I know the Doctor is a romantic figure. He They have been since at least 1996 into 2005 with the TV movie and the revival. So if you want to count from the revival, it's been 17 years that the Doctor is a romantic figure. So like this is part of that character's story now. And I really feel like this was a fresh reaction from the Doctor to a companion falling in love with them. And you know, even if she does feel the same way, she's been hurt so many times that she doesn't really want to get into it. And, you know, we know there's only one episode left, so it's not like she can go back on it. I think it's a really fresh take on the romance story in the first place. And then, you know, obviously I've got my little gay pride Dalek here because like stuff like that is really important and it matters. And you know, that one scene where they're looking out into the ocean and it's the two of them framed and backlit from the interior of the TARDIS. Both of the figures looked so androgynous and it was just them holding hands. And I really got choked up because it really symbolized to me the idea of whether it's he or she, the Doctor always needs someone to hold their hand. Mm-hmm. And that's such a complicated thing for an immortal. And I've been a romantic since I was a child. I loved Disney movies. So like I love the romantic angle as long as it is continually given fresh perspectives. And I think that for the limited time that this story was given, I think it was pretty fresh. Was it perfect? Was anything from this era? No. What am I going to do?
I think, yeah, Brian's going to jump on me on this, but I think this, I'm not a big shipper person. I've been being one of those that's like I'm like we got to put the romance onto a side over there, and it's just like I think what really killed it and I still argue to this day we should have started with the one companion instead of the three because it got way too clustered. It got to the point where people could not focus on Jodie taking on the role, and I think we should have seen it from one person's perspective. If you got in Yaz earlier and started things going with just the two of them, and then bring on Graham and Ryan to kind of create issues in the same way that when, perfect example, when Rose and Nine were going into the TARDIS, and then Adam showed up, and you could see right away that Nine was like, oh, okay, what a jerk, It was like, and he was out in one episode, but it didn't give the chance. For me, it's not that, it's fine. I just don't think that Chibnall gave those two the chance to develop something. So when we got to this point, it just didn't work out for me. And then I was like, okay. And then she mentioned to Yaz that, well, if it was going to be anybody, it was going to be you. And I'm thinking like, well, Riversong's got probably something to say about this. I think I need.
And she did bring up River, at least saying wife. She did
bring up River. The same reaction, the same reaction that Clara gave when she goes when 12 brings up River and says, you're married or you're what?
11.
Some of those things should have been involved there. I'm not saying we couldn't explore because yes, 10 was the romantic. My God, how many times was everybody hooking up with 10? It was Rose, it was Martha, it was Astrid, it was Christina D'Souza, everything.
It's David Tennant. I mean, come on.
I'm not saying that, but it's just like now we became.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with Kevin.
Whereas everybody in the past with the Eighth Doctor, pushing the romantic, and I use the word with the Eighth Doctor as being a romantic because it wasn't necessarily being that he related to human emotions or love, but I think he saw the world in a romantic type style. I'd say
11 was pretty romantic too, though. He had a lot. I don't know if exactly as many as David, but Matt definitely had approaching the same number of romantic. Marilyn Monroe, that priest lady.
I see what you're saying. But I always saw that as being. I don't want to say. Spoof is not the word I'm looking for. It was always kind of like a one-off. Like he was always floundering around and having a great time. The Eighth Doctor I saw, especially the way that he reacted to things in the TV movie, he was more of a romantic. That's just my opinion, especially listening to the Big Finish audios. If you ever get a chance to listen to 8, I think you'll appreciate more when I use the word romance on him.
Well, even like Capaldi, when the Husbands of River saw you got to see that soft side and that other aspect of marriage, and not necessarily the more deep-seated kind of romance between Capaldi and River, because that bond was more there, that chemistry of that kind of that's going to be unbreakable. I felt like you got that with them,
right?
I know personally, I'm good again with people who ship Thasmin, people who don't. I'm kind of on that. I feel like it's forced, only because it's been just so short. And again, that's just my own thing.
It was so short, and I feel like it's not. We're dealing with two characters, and we can find something that combines them together. Now we're kind of appealing because they want this to happen. And it's just like, that's fine, but can we do it in a way that people can appreciate, understand, and we can go with the emotional ride as we did with Rose, as we did with Martha as the rebound girl, as we did with
Martha deserved better.
Martha deserved, and she did. She got married. Best
version of Mickey.
But I would say, the best version of Mickey, and I would.
But
say
I think it
ended appropriately.
What I would want to see. I would have hoped that for Yasmin, I would have at least seen more heart eyes, like that you could see that she's kind of starting to get a little smitten on the Doctor. I didn't really see that. Not necessarily that it needed to become reciprocated very quickly. I mean, I'm always good with the good.
I feel like Yaz is just very reserved, though. Like, she doesn't show a lot of strong emotions for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's a lot of facial expressions for her. And I feel like she has done the looking adoringly at Jodie thing for a while. And,
I just really wish they pursued
that, because I can say that there was one of the things that I have in common, which is one of the very limited things I have in common with Diaz, is that I am like that when it comes to, I don't really show very much emotion. I am very much just kind of like that, but I'm also giddy and all that. The 13 is, so it's like I could be either. But it is very difficult. I have to agree also with Melanie that when you get to this point in the show where I understand that it was because of, it wasn't necessarily the fans, but that Jodie and Mandip did acknowledge that fans wanted to do that, and they were happy and fine with doing that. But I agree that it has to have been a little bit earlier because it does feel so rushed, which in this case comes down to the Bible, which I was shocked to learn recently that Doctor Who doesn't have a Bible. So when I found that out, I'm like, well, no wonder there's so many problems with this show right now.
Well, there was that one scene where Jodie was gone for a while, and when she comes back, and it was still the three of them having the three companions, and Yaz was so mad she pushed her, and I thought that was at the time I'm thinking, well, that's really out of character for her, but then I kind of was like, oh, well, then was that an abandonment thing? What was that? And to me, now looking back, and I'm going, that could have been that spark to show that opportunity for the writers to be like, oh, this is where you're going to see that she's in love with her. So that abandonment was a little bit more deep, was a little bit more deep seated for her. But again, that's where in my mind, I kind of think in my head canon, I'm guessing that's where it started, but I just wish I could have a little bit more.
I'm going to be honest.
Again, wishful thinking.
Well, I'm always honest. I try to be. I don't feel like they knew what to do with Yaz until people started to do the Thasmin, the shipping, and then they started gearing the direction for her because she's supposed to be this cop, and I would think that it was the same thing with Melanie Bush. They didn't know what to do with her except that she would scream all the time, and then it wasn't until Big Finish that they finally developed on the character and started using those computer skills. Too long, too late. And it does kind of feel like now it's being forced and shoehorned in there, as opposed to something that could have naturally happened. And I think, I still stand by my argument that it should have been one companion, as we can see the new Doctor, Jodie's interpretation, and then the relationship could have happened. And Yaz and Ryan Ryan and Graham could have come in, and Ryan could have started, the conflict like Adam started to do for the Ninth Doctor and Rose. And then we could see that there was a development there. Because when they finally get to the beach and having the final scene, if I could do it with anybody, it would be with you, kind of thing. I didn't feel that way because it didn't bond enough strength. Only because when we're doing with the previous Doctors before her, I felt it with Rose. Made sense. It was PTSD Doctor, And then we finally saw more resolution with the 10th Doctor as he's going from this PTSD to calm, relaxed, and Rose is guiding him through it. I could see more like with Amy or anybody else, but it was hard just to see Yaz, just because I think, in my respect for this, they didn't know what to do with Yaz until later on. They go, okay, well, why don't we do this? And now we're not doing it because there is two great characters that can develop together and get to this point. It was because Thasmin. That's
that's what I was about to say. I just really wish they had started developing this a lot sooner, because now that you're getting towards the end, it feels like it was kind of like they've only got so much time to really go with it.
And it's get ripped away.
Like the last minute, like, okay, you're literally like a tick of the clock from over, and now we were going to try to pursue this. It kind of, if it had more time to develop, I think I would enjoy it more.
But I think it's also the right, especially when it came to Eva the Daleks and now, that same impression of school reunion when the Doctor is speaking to Rose at that moment, and he goes, and he's telling her, I'm a Time Lord. I'm not going to die. You will before me. And you know how painful it is to do this to somebody you didn't say the word.
At least he was tearing up. You could see he was holding back sniffles.
Yeah. But I think he was once contemplating, because like he did back on his 8th self, for once he was contemplating it. And in fact, at the end of the 8th movie, she's Daphne Ashbrook, what was her name?
Oh yeah,
Grace Holloway. Dr. Grace Holloway is going. The 8th Doctor goes, me come with you, and then Grace goes, no, you come with me. And then he finally blurts out, it's tempting. That's how I'm just seeing it. I'm just giving you all the perspective from all the times to get to this point out here. And I think it just did a disservice for the two of them.
I did like that at one point, the Doctor tells Dan to go do something, and then she stops and says, Yaz, come with me, and puts her hand out and then pulls her up, and then at least Yaz and Dan kind of have that little look, which I was like, see, that's more of that little stuff. I kind of wish that they could have. It's not like in-depth writing. I mean, you're gonna two scenes you got to shoot because you got to do one front and one back, but still not too long.
A little bit of actual planning,
but they added it here, so that's a good thing.
I wonder if there's stuff like the push that you mentioned that we'll also watch a lot differently on rewatch after this era is over.
But ladies and gentlemen, for our friends on the audio, we're going to have to end the show. For everybody who's still watching on our video channels, YouTube, Twitch, we'll continue on to the after party, because we do have something special for Liz Sladen that we wanted to show you guys. And as well as, I think this conversation will probably run another 3 hours at this point. But everybody had some great topic. Everybody had a good talk, and we had the range. We had it from all the way from 3 for Melanie all the way up until 8.5. So all I'm going to say is this: whoever you side, whatever you believe, if you haven't seen the episode like Carl hasn't yet, go see it. Go see it. Make your own.
I'll definitely watch it again, even though I give it a 3. I'll watch it again. Try to take my adult cynicism out, like Kevo suggested, and just sit down and watch and enjoy.
It's just so much easier for so many things.
But everybody in the audio, thanks for listening. Again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. You can catch all our specials, everything, and you can see our long formatted versions out here, including bits of the TARDIS and Simon Says. We're just going to be ending the audio version. Everybody else who's still watching, please stick around, because we got a lot to talk about. Here we go, folks. And for those of you listening, thank you for joining us. Please take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the next episode. No, you can't have them.
That's not yet. Not yet. And to be fair, we love our station.
Is he going live, or is he just?
Yeah, this one's a live one.
This is a live one. Okay.
Yeah. No, this is live because I'm going to be out of here at 7:45.
Oh, okay. So everybody, after this show, go see. You're both going?
Her Station Who. I'm not, but
see Melanie.
Melanie is
at Her Station Who on the Facebook page or their YouTube channel. Do they have a YouTube channel?
No, they don't. They don't have a YouTube channel. They have the
check them out on the first Facebook page, Earth Station Who, and you can see Melanie live. And I'm sure you're going to be reviewing this episode, so let's see if your mind changes. And I will probably bring up,
to balance my words, I'll bring up some of the good points that were brought up.
Thanks.
I absolutely will.
And none of my critique is even an excuse. You can still expect better, but like there's also so many things that are worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely not an episode. Even with my low score, it's not an episode that I would hate. It's just I'm gonna probably rewatch it again, but it's probably not going to be on my list of hey, how to make somebody a Whovian.
Like I avoid Dr. Mysterio, and I have a crush on Justin Chatwin.
Yes.
I have had a crush on Justin Chatwin since I was like 18, and I still can't. I just get so mad that it's not a Christmas episode. And it was our only episode for over a full year.
It was a Christmas episode, but it wasn't a Christmas episode. It was just
there was Christmas for 5 minutes at the beginning.
Exactly.
And the rest was a superhero thing. And I wanted Christmas.
It's the same thing with Husbands of River Song. He had those antlers on. That was it.
Yeah, there were lights.
There were lights. But I mean,
that's all I need.
Carolers will be criticized. I love that sign.
That is. I want that next year this year when we put it out for Christmas out there. We just wanted to give a little tribute to Elizabeth Sladen. Oh, how do y'all feel? LOTSD compared to Christmas?
Curse of the Black Rock.
Legend of the Black way better.
Yeah,
this was way better than Curse of the Black Spot. Yeah, Curse of the Black Spot kind of bored me to death, to be honest with you. It felt like we did a 50-something minute episode just so we can introduce a couple throwaway characters we're going to pop up later, in Good Man Goes to War. And that's what it felt like.
They barely did anything.
Yeah.
It looked like potential. Looked like it was really going to be good. And then all of a sudden we were in this hospital thing. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it just
made Rory dying repetitive. Having it happen in that little random episode, it's that can't be a gag.
It just had so much potential.
No, it's like, look,
this isn't Buffy.
And
oh my God, you got Rory.
Chrissy is now making me a Hugh Bonneville fan because she's now binge watching Downtown Abbey. Downton Abbey. But she's
Downtown Abbey.
Downtown Abbey. It will happen.
That's my drag name.
So
Downtown Abbey.
Chrissy is watching that, and then I'm like, this looks boring, and I sit there for the next 4 hours. So I'm just like, oh God, why watch? But I like Hugh Bonneville. In that series.
For you old people, Downton Abbey reminded me a lot of Upstairs, Downstairs. So anybody
remember
that?
Yeah. From PBS days, from Masterpiece Theater. So let me go ahead and run this tribute. So everybody, today, and was the passing of Elizabeth Sladen. Also, the next month will be our 10th year anniversary of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS and our first day over at MegaCon. So what we wanted to do is they put a little tribute together. This is from one of our episodes. I'll put the link in the description later on if I can find it. Dave, it's been a while. This is actually from
January.
Sadie Miller, the daughter of Elizabeth Sladen, and she tells a little story about her mother. Aww. Give me a second. Where'd it go?
I don't know. It's sitting there shared.
Okay, here we go. And you can always check out. Dave has been wonderful making bits of the TARDIS, and he'll be catching up very shortly. But here's a little segment of that episode with Sadie Miller talking about her mother.
What was your relationship with Doctor Who growing up? Because I'm right in thinking, because we're relatively around the same age, and growing up when we did, Doctor Who wasn't on the television at all. Is what I think fans call the wilderness years. And so I remember when I got into Doctor Who, not many people, certainly nobody at my school, even had a clue what it was. And obviously, you coming from that background, and you would obviously, your mum was very involved in that community. And as we know, Doctor Who and that community were really active in the time when it wasn't on the television. What was it like for you kind of growing up at that time?
I think that's really interesting. Yeah, because obviously, it wasn't on television at all. But there were still kids in my school playing, Daleks and stuff in the playground. And I always kind of got roped into having to play Doctor Who with them. But yeah, I was never really that interested in it growing up, and I think like getting older, I have more of a respect for not just the program but the people behind it, that or the writers and producers, Philip Hinchcliffe, Dougie Campfield, days gone by right up until present day. Yeah, I mean, I watched it a bit with my mum, but I think as a child watching Doctor Who with her, the person that was on screen, it was almost like seeing a relative of my mum, because she didn't look like that anymore and she didn't talk like that anymore, but it was still somehow her. Like when you show your own kids photos of you as a baby, they're like, who's that? What? So I never kind of connected it until a bit later. But yeah, isn't it weird that our generation, I guess, is, since the program started, is the only one that really has this massive gap of just no one. And then when was the Paul McGann film?
96.
Yeah, I guess that must have been the closest that we ever got to having a doctor.
Which
Yeah.
is really
Can
funny.
they? Yeah. Could
ahead,
I just ask?
Yeah.
How old were you, Sadie, when it dawned on you of how appreciated or famous your mum was, and even to some extent your dad? And what was it? Because I read an article recently that Charlotte Barker, who was Ronnie Barker's daughter, only registered with her when they were in Paris viewing the Mona Lisa, and she noticed that people were staring at her dad and not the Mona Lisa.
Oh wow, that's a lovely story. Oh, I think because of the conventions, by about 5 or 6 years old, I kind of was like, okay, so there's this thing called Doctor Who, and people want to meet my mum because of it, and there's this big blue box that people keep coming in and out of, and
Did it just freeze up?
I think it froze up, Christian.
Yeah, it froze up.
Come out to play.
It's frozen.
You might be able to
Luckily,
tweak it.
I have
Yeah.
controls because Christian, I think, decided to go for a little walkabout.
It's possible.
It's okay. Back to
her answer is actually quite funny, but you'll be able to watch that on the YouTube channel since it seems to have failed miserably here. And StreamYard does not particularly like, StreamYard does not particularly like 4-minute videos, so we had to share it in a slightly different way. And my internet here is mediocre at best, so maybe that's probably what happened. Is it just did not like loading it from my computer?
Oh, he's telling us from
it's
beyond
good.
the veil that his
No,
computer.
unless he was maybe he was running it from his computer. I don't know. I have it also shared on mine, and now I think they actually have scrubbing on it. You could probably play it and fast forward from the one that I've got shared there. If you see it, Melanie, because you've got control.
Control. I just don't know where everything is now because it's
It-
set to factory settings.
Look next to me. Look at the screens next to me. Do you see a shared screen or a shared video?
No, I don't.
No. And let me take it out and put it back in, and we'll go from there. That's okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about, sir.
I hate it when they keep updating your program to the point you don't even recognize it anymore. It's just ridiculous anymore. Like Zoom has changed so much lately. It's like sometimes I'll log in the next day. It auto updated during the night. Now you're looking at a total stranger. It's like, okay, what happened to that button? No, it's over here now. It's in a different menu. Oh, sheesh.
Ain't right.
Look now. It should look like the screen share. There we go. You can probably fast forward it.
always kind of got roped into having to play Doctor Who with them. But yeah, I was never really that interested in it growing up, and I think like getting older, I have more of a respect for not just the program but the people behind it, that all the writers and producers, Philip Hinchcliffe, Dougie Campfield, days gone by right up until present day. Yeah, I mean, I watched it a bit with my mum, but I think as a child watching Doctor Who with her, the person that was on screen, it was almost like seeing a relative of my mum, because she didn't until a bit later.
96.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess that must have been the closest that we ever got to having a doctor.
Which is really
Can
funny.
they? Yeah, because I read an article recently that Charlotte Barker, who was Ronnie Barker's daughter, only registered with her when they were in Paris viewing the Mona Lisa, and she noticed that people were staring at her dad and not the Mona Lisa.
Oh wow, that's a lovely story. Oh, I think because of the conventions, by about 5 or 6 years old, I kind of was like, okay, so there's this thing called Doctor Who, and people want to meet my mum because of it, and there's this big blue box that people keep coming in and out of, and okay, this is what's going on. But when I was younger, really, my mum did an advert for Iceland. So before Kerry Katona, there was Elizabeth Sladen, and she was like the archetypal mum character doing a lot of these adverts. So people would just shout at us in the street sometimes, like, "Where are you going on your holidays? Iceland?" You know, thinking they were very clever and stuff. So it was just more embarrassing, really. But when you're a child, your parents are just embarrassing anyway, aren't they? No matter, you know, I guess if you're Shiloh Jodie Pitch, you're like, oh, my parents, so embarrassing. You know, going to Malawi again, like, oh, you know, I think that's just kind of how it.
Well, some parents pull out the old Polaroid pictures. Your mom pulls out a commercial.
Yeah, totally.
Oh.
So you'll be able to watch that on the YouTube channel in its entirety, not broken up by all of us doing whatever happened with us. Sometime in the next day or 3 when Christian loads it up there.
Day or 3.
Oh, I'm back.
Hi. Oh, look, Chris is back.
Oh, you're live this time? Oh, okay.
I've been asked to run one commercial. There was a request while I was away from there, so let me just run this commercial, even though, strangely enough, it's the after party, but I'm doing this as a favor. Stand by.
Join author Gary Zeiger for an animatic short film based on his breakaway Stingray novel series. Watch this animatic short based on the novel Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever at stingrayseries.com. In Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever, Captain Epsilon is putting the band back together to rescue his protege's little sister from the evil conglomerate, while keeping his state-of-the-art warship, Stingray, out of their hands. Watch as the adventure unfolds in the groundbreaking animatic short at stingrayseries.com. Then, join the crew of Stingray with the next novel in the series, Stingray Prophecy, where Captain Epsilon and Dr. Zubre are pivotal players in an ancient prophecy. Can they reunite the people of 2 worlds before they destroy each other? To learn more, visit stingrayseries.com.
New sponsor. There we go.
Exciting.
It just yes, I was asked to play this as soon as humanly possible. So there you go. So if you decide you want to become a sponsor of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, Sage at hangingwithshow.com or myself, Christian, at hangingwithshow.com. Thank you, Stingray. Appreciate that. Sorry, I had a little glitch. Everybody froze like completely. Nothing was working out there. So while we're getting into the after party, Brian,
you had a glitch.
That's that kind of glitch.
What is it there? That's a cool segue.
Is that one glitch?
I know, Brian. You met Elizabeth Sladen. What was your take on her? Or have you?
Was that who,
no?
Me?
Yeah, I like how.
Sadly, no, I've never met
Brian, and I'm like Brian was just like, what?
Yeah, I really wish I had, but no, sadly, I never got to meet Liz Sladen.
Well, what's your fondest memory of her?
Oh goodness, how do I narrow that down? It's just here's a person who was literally, in my living room, or on a television screen for a good chunk of my life, and so it's kind of hard to narrow it down. It's like asking me what my favorite song is or something. I just can't really narrow it down there. The one thing that's been really though capturing me though lately is every now and then I like to pop on a reaction video, and I know these people have seen the new series, and when they get to the episode The Time Warrior, I just love the looks on their faces when they see Sarah Jane Smith come walking in the room, because it's like Yeah. Oh, I know who that is. I had no idea she was in this early. That look of wonder that comes over them. Like, okay, now they're getting to discover the younger version of Sarah Jane Smith, like I did, back, when I was watching it on PBS. So that, so it's kind of hard to narrow it down to one particular moment, but I really enjoy those moments when people are getting to experience her for the first time back in the classic era.
If any of you in the chats stick around, please, your fondest moment of Elizabeth Sladen, if you've met her in person, or any of the episodes, or wherever you've seen Sarah Jane, even if you just saw the Sarah Jane Adventures, the spinoff of Doctor Who, by all means, just throw it in the chat out there for the time that we've got remaining out here. But yeah, I got to say the same thing, Brian. She was like my sister. She was like my older sister. I can't explain it out there. It's just like if Harry Sullivan was my brother, Sarah Jane was my sister, and I was watching my sister on TV just getting into trouble with the Doctor, going places, traveling through time. But yeah, she grew up on you, because the Sarah Jane that we started off with John Pertwee in The Time Warrior was not the Sarah Jane that left In the Hand of Fear. You could see the development that came across. And even when we get back to School Reunion, and then you go through her series that that Liz Sladen developed, you could see that there was a development, that she was growing with the character. And she really was a positive influence for everyone. Anybody could look at Sarah Jane and then just be, to me, she is a Doctor Who icon. When you think of Doctor Who and you see Tom Baker in your mind, or you see the TARDIS, there's no way that, for at least me, you're going to skip Sarah Jane. You're going to see Daleks, you're going to see Cybermen, but Sarah Jane in memory, and Harry Sullivan for that matter. But one of my favorite memories, I think, is the arc in space, when Sarah Jane is stuck in that. Go ahead, take off your microphone. I want to hear you laugh there, Brian.
Oh goodness, yeah. Everyone's depending on you, and you're in there blubbing.
Right. I don't want to hear you blubbing. And he's just razzing on her. Oh, don't doctor me. And getting her upset was the thing that pushed her to get her out. And what does she do as soon as he pulls her out of there? Starts hitting him. I'm like, oh, no, he didn't hit her. She just gave him a hard time. I don't think he hit her, but she did give him a hard time. Oh, no. It's that kind of kinship between the Doctor and their companion that I love. When the Doctor can make a better person out of the companion.
Plus, we were so lucky. We were so lucky, because originally the role had been given to another actress. I believe the name was April Walker. And when, I guess, John Pertwee had found out, and I don't know how that process went. I think he did some auditioning or read some lines with her, and he said, it's not working. But then when he sat down, I guess, with Liz Sladen, that's how Liz Sladen got the job, was thanks to John Pertwee.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up paying April Walker for the season, even though, she didn't actually appear in the show at all, just because they wanted Elizabeth Sladen so bad. And John Pertwee wanted her to be the companion so bad, just based off his auditions, whether he felt the chemistry was there. And that's why April Walker went out and Liz Sladen came in. Not a lot of people know that story, because if you look it up, the original, I can't remember if it was a TV Guide or something cover, Radio Time, something like that, has a completely different person. That's April Walker on the cover as the new companion with John Pertwee. I'm not kidding. Look this up. This is eerie. It's literally thanks to John Pertwee and his influence and all that we ended up with Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith.
Mm-hmm. And Sadie, her daughter, has got her mannerisms down. She's got it nailed down in the Big Finish. In fact, I would love it if they had a moment where Sadie plays her mom and Ace plays 13, and have just a moment together in some kind of Big Finish audio, or just to have that moment together. Just like, oh, that happened. I wasn't expecting that to happen. And how she would react. It's the same way Ace dealt with when her 7th Doctor became 13th. And they picked it up. If you ever hear the audio of Childhood's End, the moment that the 13th Doctor and Ace get together and they're alone with each other in the car, and making up for the time that she didn't spend with it. I'm hoping they actually pull some of that into the next episode. I'm hoping there's some kind of echo from At Childhood's End in this centennial episode. That would be so awesome if it was.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be something. I mean, it started in Sarah Jane.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing that led into that book is canon. I mean,
yeah.
At least, whether the book is or not. Well, I mean, who knows? But everything leading up to the book sure is. Even the commercial that it led into.
I just like the fact with all these dangling storylines about Ace being a Time Lord, running a charitable Earth, dying, all that stuff. There's a multiverse now within the multiverse of Doctor Who, and it's all due to Ace.
Yeah, they did. They totally out-Marveled Marvel.
They out-Marveled Marvel. It was kind of cool. But I've been like, if this was wouldn't it be so cool if somehow Big Finish was part of that alternate universe?
Yeah.
Or somehow
which we also know is at least partially canon, because I mean, some of the Big Finish companions get mentioned in Night of the Doctor in the short, the YouTube short.
But I'm just trying to see how everything can work, even when there's so many inconsistencies from Big Finish to the TV show. But I still like that they still honor that Big Finish is there.
Yeah,
that it's still there in its own existence and is paid homage, in the Night of the Doctor. But couldn't we see like a companion that was only in Big Finish? Benny Summerfield. I think it's her time to make it to the big TV screen and see what she was doing and how she would react to the 13th Doctor after seeing all the Doctors.
I want Iris.
You want Iris Wildtime?
I want Iris Wildtime. 100%. Yeah. And there's enough of a time gap there that you would not realize that it's still. I mean, it's Katie Manning. People who know would know, but casual viewers would have no idea that she's anybody but Iris Wildtime at that point.
Melanie, you're familiar with Iris, right? Katie Manning started.
Well, I mean, I know it's her Big Finish character. She's done the character on the show, but I've never listened to anything of it.
Oh,
she's a brilliant character. Absolutely brilliant character.
It's almost if Katie Manning was told, okay, create a character, let loose, go completely nuts. What would that look like? It would look like Iris Wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And who else can pull off a panda as a companion?
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially a drunken panda.
Drunken panda.
What about a penguin?
Oh, yeah, Frobisher.
Oh, Frobisher.
The bees of war.
All right, Kevin, we're going in a Big Finish world.
Right, that's a whole other. Let's do a show on Iris Wildtime. Let's just do an entire show on that later. We can get Katie back. We'll do.
All right. One thing I did want to mention though is they did do something similar with Perry Brown, where they explained why for a while there they were saying she was killed at the end of the one episode, and then all of a sudden you had that scene pop up at the end where she went off with King Yakarnos and all that. They explained it at the end of it was Perry and the Pescaton paradox, that because of the fact that you had a new administration come into the High Council of Time Lords, they decided to reverse it. Then another administration came in, they said no, we're going to reverse it back. Then another said, and thanks to all this foolery in politics and the Time Lord race, there ended up with being 5 different alternate Perrys running around the universe, which made me die laughing when she looked at the Doctor at the end of the episode and goes, well, Doctor, we'll always have Perrys. Now, according to the Big Finish, there are now 5 different Perry Browns running around because of the mix-up.
There's a YouTube video of Nicola Bryant picking up Perry again, and this one is the timeline where she is Akonis has passed, or at least all we see is a statue, and we think he's passed. And she's meeting some kind of like warrior who's paying homage, and I thought
that picks up after Widow's assassin. What happened was once again Big Finish did this again, where apparently the older version of Perry, many years on after King Yakarnos has passed away, ended up traveling with the Doctor again for a while. I'm going off memory here, so you may want to double check. But then, she did eventually wind up on her own series of adventures and all that, and that's where that was picking up after was after she had been traveling with the Doctor after King Yakarnos had passed. So they're kind of sort of tapping into the canon a little bit as far as Big Finish goes with the way they did that scene.
Mark, I will check out your profile picture later. I don't want to touch anything right now on my computer. I fear right. I just finally closed a window, and all of a sudden everything started to come back. I'm like, I'm not touching anything anymore on this computer right now. Just let it.
So with that being said, Christian,
yes,
if we lose you, and Melanie leaves in 2 minutes.
Yep, because I'm going here, people.
Who's in charge?
Well, we're gonna have the show too, so.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying is we should probably look at ending the show fairly soon so that it doesn't just explode.
Right. And the rest of you can go watch me over at facebook.com/groups/EarthStationWho, where we're going to be reviewing again The Legend of the Sea Devils.
Legend of the Sea Devils.
But you're going to see my favorite Mary and Mike.
Let me ask this question before we go. Did you change any mind? So if you went over there, would you change what you?
I'd go up to a 4.
So
I was kind of on the fence, but I'd probably go up to a 4.
Got it.
But I would definitely, I'd stick to basically what I've said. But I will say that I am definitely going to watch it again, but with the mindset of
Tom's right.
To Kevo's point of maybe take the adult part out a little bit, sit down, just have a fun ride and enjoy.
Folks, please like, share, subscribe, give it a thumbs up on the way out. YouTube.com/The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Melanie has promised a bobblehead if we reach 2,000, and all we need is 40 of you to subscribe to the channel, and that bobblehead is going to go bye-bye to one of the 2,000 of you. And also, we're trying to get to 60,000 followers on our Facebook page. We are less than 400 away. And believe it or not, that goes fast, real fast, before May 19th, our 10th anniversary. So thank you all for joining us. Support us, support Noel, support the Dr. Freedom, support the Spacebook, support all your Doctor Who podcasts, and just give them a like, share, subscribe, because that's how we get our algorithms going, because we've got a lot to say and we want to say it wherever we can, and we want to make sure that you guys are always part of the legend.
Push the button.
I am.
Push the button.
Push the button, Frank.
Bye.